Chapter 1351 Impossible to resolve harmoniously. What is the background of the female student? Why didn't you find out before you did anything? You dared to offend her without finding out anything about her. After being lectured by his father, the male student was full of regrets. I thought that this is not complicated. I have been classmates with Jiaonan for 3 years. I don't see her with any powerful relatives. You taught me that in the capital, it is useless to have money. I don't know that. He only wanted to earn some allowance and the person who hired him seemed to come from an established family. He thought that he was lucky to meet someone powerful and, like his father, he would have a bright future if he worked for the right boss. All right, you should have a talk with the female student. Ask her what she wants and whether this can be resolved harmoniously. Remember, you must speak nicely and have a good attitude. One can never be too careful. Before you do anything, think through it first. This would never happen to other people. Will this work? The male student lowered his voice. He was not certain whether Jiaonan's family was powerful or not. But judging from what happened today, Jiaonan did not lack money. If he wanted to resolve the issue with Lu Yan or Tang Jiayun, he was very certain that it would not be an issue. But if it was Jiaonan, he was not certain. He still remembered what happened when he took photos of Jiaonan secretly for the first time. Women generally could not resist this kind of love confession. They would have been into the embrace of the other party, smiling in happiness. However, Jiaonan was not moved at all, and she rejected the man decisively. Now, you know to be scared. If so, you should not have done it in the first place. No matter what, you still have to try. Send me information about the female student. I will get people to do a check on her and her background. His son was in trouble. As his father, he had to clean up his mess. Jiaonan was one who made good on her words. Zai Sheng was injured after seeing the photos of the confession last time. Since she had caught the person who took the photos, Jiaonan would not let the person off. She was swift and decisive and had decided to teach the person a harsh lesson. This would serve as a lesson to other people so that they would not dream of hatching a plan or scheming against her. Now that the student had made trouble for her, it was useless even if he was her schoolmate. Miaojing, who was still very happy about her daughter's pregnancy, turned serious when she heard that Jiaonan wanted to talk to a lawyer. What's the matter? Jiaonan told her what happened as well as her guesses. I cannot condone this. He is already a college student. He cannot say that he is young and ignorant. He is an adult and should know what can be done and what cannot be done. Does he really think there are free lunches in the world? Since he is being paid handsomely, it must come with a high risk. I don't intend to resolve this harmoniously. She let Lu Yan off 2 years ago. This time, she would not be soft-hearted. Miaojing was furious after she found out what happened. You are very busy with school work. I am not worried that you will feel neglected or displeased, as Zai Sheng is at the army camp every single day. At times, I feel that it's Zai Sheng who will be displeased. All of you are college students. But why is it that you are so busy and you wish to have 48 hours a day while there are other students who have a lot of free time to be up to no good? There was a huge difference between the students. Jiaonan smiled bitterly. She wanted to know the answer as well. Do we know any lawyer? I will have to check with your dad. Miaojing had no contact with the lawyers. Therefore, she made a phone call to Zai Yaowai and told him about the incident. Zai Yaowai did not object to Jiaonan's way of dealing with the matter. He sent someone to discuss with Jiaonan on how to deal with it. Since Zai Yaowai had no objections to going to court, the other party had no hope of resolving it harmoniously with them. Actually, Lu Yan was egged on by other people to target Jiaonan. If not for other people who reminded her, given her relationship with Jiaonan, she would usually steer clear of Jiaonan. Notwithstanding that Jiaonan did not put on any perfume, if she really put on perfume, Lu Yan would not be in close vicinity with Jiaonan that she would be able to smell it. When Jiaonan said that she would sue the man and Su Shennan looked very serious as well. Apart from the student from the journalism faculty, Lu Yan was taken aback as well. Lu Yan consoled herself that Jiaonan must be exaggerating in front of other people so as to keep up appearances. Jiaonan must have wanted everyone to know that she was not to be trifled with and hoped that there would not be similar incidents in the future. She was hoping that Jiaonan would go back on her words and make a fool of herself. She did not expect that the student from the journalism faculty who did not fear Jiaonan yesterday would come begging at Jiaonan like a bootlicker to resolve the issue harmoniously. He even told Jiaonan to make any requests and he would fulfill her requests and compensate her as long as it was within his means. This alone gave Lu Yan a fright. She was from the countryside. She had no power or money, so she was bullied by Jiaonan. However, the student from the journalism faculty was from the capital. His family was fairly well-to-do. Once he graduated, he had no worry about finding a job. If he performed well in his job, he might be able to take over his father's position after he retired. People like him should not fear Jiaonan. Why was he willing to allow himself to be ripped off by Jiaonan? Lu Yan did not believe that the male student would come to his senses and admit his mistakes. Instead, she felt that Jiaonan must have a strong backing such that the male student was fearful and did not dare to bully Jiaonan anymore and was willing to ask for forgiveness from Jiaonan. "I am sorry. I am very busy. I have no time to drink your tea. Besides, I don't need any compensation. Please take back all the presents. Also, you are an adult. You should be responsible for your own deeds and pay a price for what you have done. There is no way to resolve this harmoniously." Seeing that Jiaonan rejected him with no hesitation, the male student's heart jumped a beat. Ignorance can be forgiven. I did not do it on purpose. Everything is a misunderstanding. If we have better communication, the misunderstanding could be avoided. "Classmate Jiao, please give me a chance." Jiaonan was amused. "Given your attitude, there is no way that I can give you a chance. I am not foolish. I understand what you mean when you said that we have some misunderstandings. You simply won't admit your mistakes. Alright, since you said that it is a misunderstanding, there is no need to worry as well." Chapter 1352 Severe Inner Pain. The law was used to deal with people who were in the wrong and were against the law. Nobody could be bothered if it was a misunderstanding. "I am giving you a chance to sue me for false accusation. You can sue me as well." Jiaonan talked about suing each other. She seemed to be talking in circles, causing the other party to break out in cold sweat. "Is there no chance of reconciliation and we can't live harmoniously in the future?" The male student from the journalism faculty took a deep breath. He was debating with himself and there was a distorted look on his face. No one had really driven him into a corner before. This was purely his conjecture. What if it ended up that Jiaonan was merely bluffing him? Since he could not entice her with benefits, he turned to threatening her. Jiaonan could tell that the other party was not sincere. She did not back down either. "No. Jiaonan, we are schoolmates. There is no need for things to be so ugly or making things look bad for us. This is why I talk to you nicely and try to settle this harmoniously. You should know what's best for you. Don't force me to say harsh words." Women were pretentious. They had been schoolmates for 3 years. He could not tell that Jiaonan had a strong backing. If so, Lu Yan could no longer stay in Peking University. Lu Yan should have been kicked out of Peking University more than 2 years ago when she was still in her first year. There should not have been a place for her in the capital. Jiaonan knocked on the tabletop with her fingers. "You are wrong. It is not that you are stopping yourself from saying harsh words. Perhaps I have been too nice to all of you. All right, you will receive the court summons very soon. You can leave any harsh words until then." They only had a short conversation, but many people who heard of the incident yesterday were staring at them. Xiaonan stood up to leave while the male student turned red in anger, but he did not dare to reach out his hands to stop Xiaonan from leaving. He watched helplessly as Xiaonan got onto the car and left. A thought struck him and he took down the car plate number. His father went to a lot of effort to do a check on Xiaonan's background last night, but he could not find any information on her. He believed that with the car plate number, he should be able to find out more about her. "Are you all right?" Although the parties concerned had left, the crowd who was watching by the side had yet to disperse. Yu Xiaoxiao walked to stand next to Lu Yan, giving her a light pat. "You don't look too well. If you are uncomfortable, shall I accompany you to the sickbay?" It was shining brightly outside, but Lu Yan was breaking out in cold sweats and she kept shivering as if it was winter. One could not help but feel sorry for her. Yu Xiaoxiao was at a loss. Lu Yan should know very well when she was in her first year that Xiaonan was not to be trifled with. They had been classmates for nearly 3 years. Although Xiaonan was not approachable, she was a down-to-earth and good person. If one did not provoke Xiaonan, she would not be so petty-minded as to leave one in the lurch when one was in trouble. At least for the first and second year juniors, they had a good impression of Xiaonan. She could not understand why Lu Yan was so stubborn. She had made a huge mistake in the first year when she tried to make trouble for Xiaonan and she was still recovering from it. Why would she be so fearless to create trouble for her again, making life difficult for herself? What a hypocrite! You are the only one in our dormitory who benefited from being with Xiaonan. Look at Tang Jiayun and me. We have been unlucky all these years. You must be laughing at us secretly. You must be elated to see me in such a state today. Lu Yan refused to admit her weakness. Although she hoped that someone would stand on her side, console her, listen to her woes, and put in a good word for her in front of Xiaonan, she refused to admit it. She was reminded that Yu Xiaoxiao was in a different situation from her, and she could not stop herself from saying harsh words to her. After you did well in your non-academic performance, you keep getting scholarships every year. It is a pity that no matter how many scholarships you have, you are not as good as Xiaonan. Everyone is speculating that the school intended to sponsor Xiaonan for overseas studies, but Xiaonan rejected the offer. You sucked up to Xiaonan shamelessly, but in the end, you did not fare much better than Tang Jiayun and me. Yu Xiaoxiao was exasperated. Fine, take it that I didn't say anything. Yu Xiaoxiao was about to walk away. She was a fool for trying to be nice to Lu Yan. She had yet to make a move when Lu Yan grabbed her arm. Compared to Tang Jiayun and me, you have a better relationship with Xiaonan. After all, we have been roommates for 3 years. Can you do me a favor? I know that I am in the wrong. I will not make trouble for Xiaonan in the future even if someone forces me to. Can you tell Xiaonan to let me off this time? She was taught a harsh lesson for what she did last time. Initially, she had indeed learned her mistake, but then... Xiaonan is not close to anyone. Apart from Su Shennan, she treats you fairly well and has given you a lot of help. I don't dare to appear in front of her. Just this once, can you help me? Actually, someone hinted to me to make trouble for Xiaonan yesterday. Without that person's reminder, I would not know what Xiaonan applied on her face. I have been avoiding Xiaonan for the past 3 years. I can tell Xiaonan who the person is. I will steer clear of her in the future. Please give me one more chance. Yu Xiaoxiao could not be bothered with Lu Yan, but she hesitated slightly after listening to Lu Yan's words. Are you saying that someone schemed against you and wanted to do you in? There were tears in Lu Yan's eyes. She sniffed and shook her head pitifully. The person's aim is not to do me in. I feel that the person was out to deal with Xiaonan. When someone confessed his love to Xiaonan the previous time, I saw the student from the journalism faculty hiding in a corner and taking multiple shots of Xiaonan. I did not read too much into it. Yesterday, it was only when Jiaonan asked the senior to catch the male student did I realize that someone made use of me. It was fine if she offended Jiaonan because she wanted to make life difficult for her. But she was set up by other people this time. Someone made use of her. She felt wronged. Lu Yan could not stop herself from crying. I only want to study hard at Peking University. I have been leading a simple life in my 9 years of compulsory education and 3 years of high school. I never expected that so many things would happen at Peking University, and that I would be at loggerheads with Jiaonan. It was as if I killed her dad. Lu Yan was close to saying that she had had enough of the city and wanted to go back to the countryside. All right, stop crying. Yu Xiaoxiao felt severe inner pain. You felt wronged, so did Jiaonan. You created trouble for her while she did not even provoke anyone. Besides, I am not close to Jiaonan at all. We are unlike what you think. Chapter 1353 No Time to Cha. Are you saying that you won't help me? If that was the case, she would be dead for sure. Yu Xiaoxiao felt exasperated. I didn't say that I won't help you. It's just that I won't be of much help. I will still try to relay your words to Jiaonan. The problem was Jiaonan was seldom affected by other people. Thank you, Xiao Xiao. You are the best. Lu Yan could not care much. She turned grief into happiness when Yu Xiao Xiao promised to help her. She could finally see a glimmer of hope. Like Yu Xiao Xiao, Jiaonan could no longer put up with the former love rival that was standing in front of her. She had a headache at the sight of her. Miss Chu, long time no see. If you want to catch up, this is not a good place. If you don't mind, I suggest that you go to the Zai family's residence. Jiaonan was stopped by Chu Chenxai on her way back home. What if I mind? I prefer to talk at a cafe. Chu Chenxai was never easygoing. Chu Chenxai had never liked Jiaonan since the first time she saw her. She did not expect that Jiaonan, whom she looked down on, would take her place and have everything that she wanted to have. She received the Li family's recognition, was taken good care of by the Zhu family, and had Lin Yuankong as her master. Other than having Zai Sheng as her husband, there was another thing that Chu Chenxai found most intolerable. Jiaonan was her biggest enemy in this life. However, instead of taking care of her and standing on her side to deal with Jiaonan, her uncle treated Jiaonan like her niece. Compared to her, her uncle was much closer to Jiaonan. At times, she could not even tell whether she and Xiqing were her uncle's relatives or whether Jiaonan was his kin. I am sorry. As a mother of 3, my time is very precious. You should know that my 3 children have not reached 2 years old. They could not stay apart from their parents for too long. Jiaonan smiled. She was no longer the young girl a few years back who would suffer quietly and please everyone. Chu Chenxai could tell the change in Jiaonan. Your status has changed indeed after marrying Zai Sheng. How dare you act arrogantly in front of me just because you have Zai Sheng to back you up? If it was a few years back, you won't dare to say this to me. Jiaonan remained unaffected. That's true. If Brother Zai was not a good catch, you would not condescend to go against a student like me. Chu Chenxai made a dig at Jiaonan, saying that she climbed up the social ladder with Zai Sheng's help. Jiaonan pointed out directly that Chu Chenxai liked Zai Sheng because of his status and the Zai family. Jiaonan, do you still remember that you are married with kids? Do you still remember that you have a husband? I thought you have long forgotten about it. College life is indeed exciting. There are a lot of temptations around you. It's understandable that you can't resist temptations. The love confession was so romantic. There aren't many men who confessed his love to me. Jiaonan, are you moved? Chu Chenxai crossed her hands about her chest, her eyes full of mockery. Zai Sheng did not like it that she had been leading an exciting life while he was away. This was the reason why they did not end up together. Actually, no girl would like dull and boring life. Xiaonan was younger than her. It was the youngster's nature to play and have fun. No matter how Zai Sheng picked and chose, he ended up with a similar girl. On the contrary, now that she had grown older, she was much more mature than before. Xiaonan would embarrass Zai Sheng, but she would not. Like what she had said long ago, Zai Sheng made the worst decision in his life by giving up on her and choosing Xiaonan. Xiaonan was amused. It is just a love confession, so what about it? Like you have said, someone confessed his love to you when you were a student. I don't really care about what's going on in school, but I am still aware of the rumors going around the school. I may not be the school belle, but I am the faculty belle. It is not odd that students confess their love to me. It will be weird if they don't. What was up with all these people? All of them seemed to be very free. There was so much important news happening in the country and around the world. A Peking University student confessing his love to a female student. How could this be compared to the important news around the world? Why was it that many important figures took notice of it and knew all the details? They remembered the details much better than her, the party concerned. Chu Chenxi snorted. Carry on with your pretenses. Aren't you touched? Didn't you accept his confession? If you didn't do anything, would the man kneel down and confess his love to you in public? Everyone was once young and many of them were the only child in the family. Xiaonan must have reciprocated the feelings in order for the student to let go of his pride and kneel down to confess his love. Xiaonan yawned. I am sorry. My driver must be waiting for me anxiously. Besides, I am starving. You can go ahead to make guesses, but they are not the truth. Miss Chu, I will make a move. Xiaonan parked her bicycle at the usual place and ran toward the school gate. Why was it that everyone was into stopping people in the middle of their way and was bent on talking about these topics in the public? Was Chu Chenxi dying for everyone to know what kind of person she was? Xi Peng had been transferred to the capital. Old Master Xi and his wife also moved out of Mo due to stay with their son in the capital. Qi Minlin had been staying with Chu Chenxi at her parental house, but when Old Master Xi and his wife stayed with Xi Peng, Qi Minlin and Chu Chenxi moved in with them as well. This was when things got awkward. It was all right if the sister who was married stayed for a few days at her elder brother's house when she visited her parental family. After Qi Minlin was divorced, she and her daughter moved to stay with her parents. Although Old Master Xi was advanced in age, it was still acceptable for the parents to support their children. However, now that Old Master Xi was staying in his son's house, his divorced daughter moved in with him as well and her elder brother had to provide for her. It was generous of Xi Peng to be willing to take care of Chu Chenxi. But if he refused, no one would fault him. Instead, they would feel that it was Qi Minlin and Chu Chenxi who were imposing on them. Chu Chenxi had a job and a career with Old Master Xi's help. Although she could not buy a house in the capital, she was still able to rent a house. She should be able to support herself if she cut down on her expenses. However, despite the fact that they could support themselves, Qi Minlin still stayed with her brother and lived on her brother. Everyone was displeased with her behavior. Chapter 1354 Men were the source of trouble. Qi Minlin and Chu Chenxi did not feel embarrassed at their own behavior. Chu Chenxi even blamed Xi Peng for favoring an outsider instead of someone on his own side. Xi Peng knew that Xiaonan was the woman who snatched the man from his niece, yet he continued to help Xiaonan and hurt Chu Chenxi. Whenever Chu Chenxi saw her uncle, there would be a glint of hatred in her eyes. Chu Chenxi and Shi Qing did not get along well either. Their relationship was worse than before. Back then, everyone persuaded Shi Qing to be polite to Chu Chenxi. However, ever since Shi Qing was friends with Xiaonan, she no longer gave in to Chu Chenxi. Since Chu Chenxi did not know the basic courtesy of a guest, Shi Qing did not go easy on her as well. Since Chu Chenxi was shameless, Shi Qing would not suffer in silence or treat her well for the sake of keeping up appearances. Chu Chenxi was no longer the princess that she used to be, and everyone would not suck up to her or give her the best treatment. Now that Shi Qing changed her attitude toward Chu Chenxi did not have a good time staying with the Shi family in the capital. She could not wait to find a suitable man and get married. She did not want to stay at the Shi family and be given the cold treatment by Shi Qing. Chu Chenxi was being treated like a princess for more than 20 years due to Zai Sheng. It was a pity that he had been snatched away by Jiao Nan. She finally set her sights on Tiandong a few years later. She thought that she would definitely be able to marry him. To her surprise, someone threw a wrench in the works. Zai Hua ended up married to Tiandong and she was pregnant. There was no way they would get a divorce. Whenever she met Jiao Nan, everything seemed to go wrong for her. It was frustrating. Jiao Nan was her nemesis. As long as Jiao Nan was around, she would not have good days ahead. Several years had passed. Chu Chenxi was not able to prove that she was better than Jiao Nan, so that Zai Sheng and the Zai family would regret choosing Jiao Nan instead of her. On the contrary, once again, she fared worse than Jiao Nan. Moreover, when she finally found another suitable man, it was thwarted by Jiao Nan again. Jiao Nan, don't be too smug. You will not win every time. Chu Chenxi could not help but shout toward Jiao Nan, who was leaving. Even if you are impenetrable like a metal bucket, I will be able to make a hole out of you one day. She believed if she spent her entire life trying, she would definitely be able to do Jiao Nan in. Jiao Nan could hear Chu Chenxi's threats and ravings. She did not stop but ran all the way and got into the car. Jiao Nan already knew years ago that Chu Chenxi was dying for her to fall from grace. Although it was illegal to murder someone, Chu Chenxi was reckless and could not be bothered. She hired a group of men years ago to give her and Shi Qing a thrashing. They almost ended up maimed or dead. Initially, Jiao Nan had no intention of getting embroiled into things. But with the appearance of Chu Chenxi, Jiao Nan felt that it might seem to other people that she was a pushover. Everyone had no qualms about bullying her. Since the other party had gone all out to deal with her, it would be too embarrassing if she continued to take it lying down. Upon reaching home, Jiao Nan was determined to sort out the complicated relationship between the higher UPS. She even went into Old Master Zai's study room, asking him to help her out. Jiao Nan was busy with sorting out the relationship between the influential families, and she had no time for the triplets. They almost threw their tantrums at her. Miao Jing was surprised. Jiao Nan seldom acted like this. I heard that Nan Nan has completed all her lessons in school and she can apply for graduation. What is she up to? Could it be that she wants to take the entrance exams for postgraduate schools and study for a doctorate? Miao Jing knew that Jiao Nan was good in her studies. She was unlike her son and daughter. If not for the triplets, given Jiao Nan's abilities, it was an easy task for her to take the entrance exams for postgraduate schools and study for a doctorate. She had never been to college, so she did not know the details. However, she knew that her daughter-in-law had good results in school and could apply for further studies after she graduated. Thereafter, she would be able to take the entrance exams for postgraduate schools. No. The daughter from the Chu family is making trouble for Nan Nan. Zai Yaowai knew what was going on. There was a harsh competition between different groups in all levels. Since they were of differing views and interests, people would form different factions. Zai Yaowai had no intention for his daughter-in-law to get embroiled into the power struggle. The Zai family would deal with it by themselves. As the daughter-in-law of the Zai family, it was good enough that she took care of the 3 children and made sure that she did not make any mistakes. To Zai Yaowai's surprise, Jiao Nan did not shy away from problems or challenges. Now that she was being bullied by other people, she was ready to flash her claws and retaliate so that the enemy would know that she was not someone to be trifled with. Jiao Nan's personality made her particularly suitable as part of the Zai family. What has happened? Miao Jing glared at Zai Yaowai angrily at the mention of Chu Chenxi. Whether it was Chu Chenexai or Chi Minlan, Zai Yaowai was the one who invited the trouble. Zai Yaowai smiled, embarrassed. Chu Chenexai wanted to start a relationship with Dongzi, but in the end, Dongzi became our son-in-law. I suppose Chu Chenexai is angry about it. If not for Nan Nan, she would be able to pick from Zai Sheng and Tian Dong. She could reject suitors, but the suitors could not reject her. Zai Yaowai was indeed guilty of the accusations. Since his son did not express his strong opinions of who he wanted to be with and he watched as Chu Chenexai grew up, Zai Sheng and Chu Chenexai might have ended up getting married to each other if Jiao Nan was not in the picture. Zai Sheng would have agreed to the marriage under the elder's pressure. Although he would marry her under the elder's pressure, Zai Yaowai knew that they had no control over their married life. The elders still had the traditional thinking that children had to marry when they grew up. This was one of the reasons why Chu Chenexai was bent on making life difficult for Chiao Nan. Another reason was that if not for Chiao Nan, before Dongzi returned to the country from America with his family, Hua Hua would have been discussing marriage with Wei Dai. Perhaps, on the day that Dongzi returned to the country, instead of attending the wedding banquet of Zai Sheng and Chiao Nan, the Tian family might be attending Hua Hua and Wei Dai's wedding banquet. Now that he thought about it, Zai Yaowai could understand why Chu Chenexai had so much hatred and resentment toward Chiao Nan. Of course, he could understand but he would not agree with her actions. Is she here to make trouble for Nan Nan? Miao Jing was furious. She could not help but reach her hand toward Zai Yaowai and give him a pinch. All that said, it is your fault. You invited the troubles home. If not for you, there would not be all these troubles. Chu Chenexai would not dash to the Chiao family's residence, kicking at the door and ranting at Nan Nan like a madwoman. Chapter 1355 More Men Than Women. So many years had passed, but she still hasn't changed her unreasonable and shameless personality. Nan Nan and I seem to owe the men in the Zai family. We are being bullied by the pair of mother and daughter because of you. To Miao Jing, Chiao Nan was going through what she had suffered decades ago. They had the same predicament. Chu Chenexai had a similar disposition to her mother, Chi Minlan. She was unreasonable and she did not feel ashamed at doing those evil deeds. Grandma. De Bao knitted his brows. Hit Grandpa, why? Grandpa was behaving himself and being obedient. Why did Grandma bully Grandpa? Grandpa, did you misbehave? Bao looked at his grandparents curiously. San Bao broke into a smile. She walked to stand next to Zai Yaowai. Her intention was to hit him on his thigh, but she was still very young. Her gentle touch seemed like a caress to Zai Yaowai. Grandma, don't be angry. Grandpa is mischievous. San Bao will help Grandma. After she taught her grandpa a lesson, her grandma must smile. Miao Jing, who was furious, forgot totally about the triplets. She could not help but blush at the sight of the triplets. She made a fool of herself in front of them. Zai Yaowai did not mind it at all. He was laughing heartily. Don't worry. Grandpa is being very well behaved. Grandma is not angry with me. She is not hitting me. It is just that my shirt is dirty and she is brushing off the dust for me. Zai Yaowai grabbed Miao Jing's hands and gave a few pats on his shirt, proving to his grandchildren that he was telling the truth. Zai Yaowai was usually stern and serious. Everyone would keep a straight face when he was around. He turned his head and put a smile on his face, trying hard to gain Miao Jing's favor. He was the chief when he was outside. But he was Miao Miao's husband at home. It was not embarrassing to please and cajole his wife. Miao Jing could no longer stay angry with Zai Yaowai, but she refused to admit that Zai Yaowai's charms and coaxes were useful on her. She turned her head to the side, not looking at Zai Yaowai. Instead, she brought the triplets along with her so that she could play with them. Your mama has a lot of homework to do and she has to do her learning. De Bao, Bao, and San Bao cannot disturb your mama. San Bao was displeased. After mama finishes her work, she must play with us. San Bao, be good. De Bao, who was the eldest, consoled San Bao. He told her not to be naughty. Bao drooled as he smiled. Don't be angry. I will play with you. With her mother-in-law's help, Xiaonan sorted out the complicated relationship in no time. There were some things that Xiaonan was unwilling to do and she would rather be muddled. But since her enemies were right on her doorstep, they would think that she was a pushover if she did not show them what she was capable of. There was one person that had almost slipped out of Xiaonan's mind. To her surprise, this person came into sight because of Chu Chenexai. Deng Wenchang worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was a young man that she found particularly annoying. With Old Master Zai's help, she learned that Shi Peng was supportive of the Zai family while Chu Chenexai was leaning toward the Peng family under Old Master Shi's influence. Old Master Shi was trying to please both sides. If the Zai family was doing well, he would ask his son who supported the Zai family to help his daughter and granddaughter. If the Peng family was doing well, he would get his daughter to help his son. Old Master Shi's logic was simple but selfish. Shi Peng and Shi Minlan were his children. When he was advanced in years, they had to provide for his old age and make sure that he led a good life. If his son had the foresight and the Zai family did better than the Peng family, everything would go as planned. No matter what, his daughter was married. Her surname was Chi instead of Shi. Now that she was divorced, he had been providing for her and her daughter. He did not ask his daughter to return the favor. But if her daughter was in trouble, they could not possibly ask him who was already advanced in years to help them out. Of course, it would be just as nice if his granddaughter was superior. After her daughter had a divorce, she had nowhere to go with her daughter. He was the one who took them in. In that case, they would treat him like a retired emperor. What he wanted was to lead a good life in the future. He had 2 children, and they each supported one family. One of them was bound to be successful. All he needed to do once the winner was decided was to stay with the child who was successful and lead a life of an elderly gentleman in the future. Furthermore, by then, the Shi family's reputation and social position would be higher than before. It did not matter whether it was his son or his daughter who helped the Shi family flourish. Both of them were his children. Without him, they would not be here as well. Therefore, he would still be the greatest hero. After he passed away, he would be able to face his ancestors. Old Master Shi did not care whether it was his son or his daughter who succeeded. Xiaonan had heard from Shi Qing years ago about the peculiar situation in the Shi family. Today, she finally saw it for herself, Old Master Shi's style of dealing with things. Xiaonan had to admit that she was not the only pitiful child in this world. Shi Minlan was muddled. It was hard to say whether Old Master Shi had done Shi Minlan wrong or the other way round. But Shi Peng was unlucky. He had an unreliable father and a worrisome younger sister and niece. Apart from the Shi family who was in a mess, Xiaonan had to pay attention to Deng Wenchang as well. The Deng family used to be neutral. She did not expect that they would be in close contact with the Peng family secretly since the beginning of this year. Xiaonan remembered that when she was doing her internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last year, Deng Wenchang was prejudiced against her and that made her angry. However, back then, Xiaonan, who had the mental age of a 40 to 50 years old auntie, could not be bothered to take issue with Deng Wenchang, who was like a young kid. However, with Peng Yu in the picture, everything was different. Deng Wenchang was already at odds with her. From now onward, she decided to be at odds with him as well. Peng Yu wanted to place Deng Wenchang at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Although she could not send Deng Wenchang out of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what she could do was to make sure that she performed better than him so that he would have no chance of rising through the ranks. Xiaonan had no idea why Peng Yu highly valued the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but she would disrupt his plans and do all she could to stop Deng Wenchang from doing what he set out to do. In that case, the Zai family would be the one who won in this fight, and the Peng family would not have the last laugh. Since it no longer made any difference if she went to school or not, after making up her mind, Xiaonan decided to go with Elder Lin's arrangement to continue to work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with He Yi's help. There were more men than women in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Chapter 1356 Competition had begun. It was pleasing to have a young and beautiful Xiaonan among all the men in the ministry. Apart from Deng Wenchang, the entire Ministry of Foreign Affairs was glad to welcome Xiaonan back at the ministry. "Hello, I am here to impose on you again." Xiaonan had a wide smile on her face as she greeted her colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Deng Wenchang's eyes were spitting fire at the sight of this. As soon as Xiaonan sat down at her usual seat, Deng Wenchang used a cynical tone on her. "Aren't you still in your third year? You have yet to graduate and yet you don't feel like going to school but come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Don't you want to graduate? Or is it that you have other ways and want to continue to get in through the back door?" Unlike the previous time where she would avoid his provocation, Xiaonan gave Deng Wenchang a direct reply. "Since when is it so easy to get in through the back door at Peking University? Or perhaps you have experience with that?" Deng Wenchang could sense the change in Xiaonan. He was surprised. Xiaonan went head-on with him and she was sharp in her comments. In the past, she would leave room to maneuver and she would be careful not to offend other people. "Hehe, you seem to be emboldened after a few months' time. Who are you acquainted with to become so sharp in your remarks?" "It doesn't matter who I am acquainted with. I have the ability and therefore I am emboldened." "Deng Wenchang, are you officially employed? I wish that your dream will come true soon." Xiaonan had a wicked smile on her face. She knew that Deng Wenchang was concerned about being officially employed, so she used this to provoke him. One should not hit a person in his face, and neither should one expose a person's shortcomings when one scolded them. Xiaonan did the exact opposite. But Xiaonan no longer wanted to tolerate him further. She wanted to hit him in the face and expose his shortcomings. "I haven't seen you for half a year. Comrade Deng, you must work hard. If not, I may be officially employed earlier than you." "Got in through the back door?" Deng Wenchang got in through the back door to be able to be in this department. Deng Wenchang was counting on He Yi and getting help from the Peng family. But both He Yi and the Peng family would not be able to have any direct influences and could only help Deng Wenchang indirectly. If Xiaonan was to compete with Deng Wenchang, she would not lose to him in terms of who had the stronger backing and who could help her get in through the back door easily. That was why even before Xiaonan arrived at the ministry, she was already well known. All of the higher UPS knew that Lin Yuankong changed his mind and returned to the capital because of his last beloved disciple. No matter what, the higher UPS had to give Elder Lin due respect. If Xiaonan was incapable, it would be easy to deal with her. There were many units and positions in the ministry. They could put her in an insignificant position and take it that they paid an extra sum of money for someone insignificant. However, all of Elder Lin's disciples were of high caliber and capable. Everyone had made great contributions to the country. As long as Xiaonan maintained the usual standard of Elder Lin's disciples, she would be a great help to the country. There was no need to give due respect to Elder Lin and they would be glad to accept talents like her. No matter what, they would not be disadvantaged. Xiaonan joined the unit and she was offered official employment. Xiaonan kept a low profile about the various reasons behind her employment. She never mentioned it to anyone. He Yi never really made any endorsements for her either. Apart from Xiaonan and He Yi, the entire Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not know of her background. Deng Wenchang felt good about himself and thought that he was definitely better than Xiaonan. He could not help but laugh when Xiaonan provoked him recklessly today. "Fine, I shall see what you are capable of despite not having anyone to help you secretly. By then, you must not say that I bully you as I am older. You have to blame yourself for being born later than me." Deng Wenchang was thrilled. Xiaonan had yet to graduate from college. She was not a postgraduate, and neither had she obtained a master's or a doctorate's degree. He had obtained a master's degree from overseas. How dared she compete with him? This was the biggest joke that he heard this year. How can I blame you for being born earlier than me? You don't know my mom. As a woman who was married with 3 children, Xiao Nan was just as good when it came to cracking dirty jokes. How dare you? Deng Wenchang blushed red in embarrassment. Xiao Nan was so shameless. How dared she say such jokes in front of so many people? The female college students nowadays are really an eye-opener for me. He did not believe that Xiao Nan was innocent and did not engage in indecent deals. Xiao Nan smirked. She no longer bantered with Deng Wenchang. He would know whether she was capable or not when they had more interactions at work in the future. It was useless to engage in banter. Xiao Nan put in more than 100% of effort in her work and she was very enthusiastic. Her performance was dazzling. Xiao Nan would never shy from work. She worked 10 times harder than her internship. She would fight for every chance to take on more tasks. With Xiao Nan around, Deng Wenchang did not dare to skive. Therefore, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had 2 interns who worked extra hard to take on every task. The veterans were glad that there were 2 hard-working interns in the ministry. It would be beneficial for them to gain more experience and it would definitely be useful in the future. The wily old foxes could tell that the 2 youngsters were competing with each other. They watched the fun by the side as they stood to gain and had an easier time at work. When Xiao Nan was not around, Deng Wenchang was just as hard-working. But Deng Wenchang was young and foolish no more. He would not take on jobs that were outside of his job scope. He was there to gain experience, not to do everything or take on other people's tasks. He refused to be the laborer while other people had an easy time. However, now that Xiao Nan had spoiled the market, Deng Wenchang could not help but take on tasks that he was not used to doing in the past. Since he had ended up doing all the other work, his goal was to finish them at a faster speed than Xiao Nan and to do a better job than her. Deng Wenchang was older than Xiao Nan by a few years and he used to study overseas. He should have a faster reading speed and better comprehension skills than Xiao Nan. As long as he did his work quickly and efficiently and proved his capabilities, it would not be long before Xiao Nan lost to him. Deng Wenchang felt that success was within his grasp. However, he did not expect that he would be given a tight slap. Deng Wenchang had yet to finish his work but Xiao Nan had already submitted her work to her senior. Now that the competition had begun between the 2 youngsters, he had told everyone that it was best to allocate the work equally between Xiao Nan and Deng Wenchang so as not to cause any dispute. Chapter 1357 What a pity! Xiao Nan submitted her assignments earlier than Deng Wenchang. It proved that she was faster than Deng Wenchang. Xiao Nan arched her eyebrows and smiled at Deng Wenchang, whose pen roughly slid across the table. Comrade Deng, don't be in a hurry. Although we have the same amount of work, perhaps there is a difference in the nature of the work. Your task might be more complicated than mine. As you must know, I did not go for overseas studies and I did not have a master's degree. I admit that I am lacking in all these. Before Deng Wenchang came up with the high-sounding and unrealistic excuses, Xiao Nan kindly helped him come up with excuses. To Xiao Nan, this was not the first time that she heard them. Initially, Deng Wenchang felt that he had valid reasons. But now that Xiao Nan beat him to saying them, the same words seemed to sound awkward coming from Xiao Nan's mouth. It was as if he refused to admit defeat and came up with excuses for himself. Xiao Nan, don't be too smug. What matters is the work attitude. Being fast is useless. You can't afford to make any mistakes here. Don't tell me that you don't know that the first and foremost requirement in the ministry is to be cautious. She should not be smug that she completed the assignments faster than him. It would be disastrous if she made mistakes. Her colleagues would have to redo the work then. This was akin to increasing the workload and adding trouble to other people. By then, he would see if Xiao Nan could laugh like now. Tell you what, I will make a copy of my completed assignment and give it to you. If you finish your work, can you help me do a check? Xiaonan was not surprised that for people like Deng Wenchang, no matter what she did, he would be full of doubts and want to find the chink in her armor. Since Deng Wenchang wanted to find the chink in her armor, she was not afraid of giving him her work and letting him do a check. She should see if he could spot any mistakes in them. There is no need for me to do a check. The minister can tell at one glance if there are any mistakes. Deng Wenchang was not willing to waste any time on Xiaonan. He only wanted to make things difficult and embarrassing for her. But he was not willing to lose out to Xiaonan in terms of the amount of work that they did. He did not want to look as if Xiaonan was hard-working whereas he skived. Minister, I am almost done with my work. You can go ahead to give me other assignments. He wanted to do a better job than Xiaonan and complete more assignments than her. He must defeat her in all aspects. Xiaonan smiled lightly. Nevertheless, she still made a copy of her completed assignment out of good intention. Deng Wenchang finally completed his assignment by the time Xiaonan was done photocopying her work. Comrade Deng, congratulations! We are at the same starting line again. Xiaonan did not feel the least scared at the thick stack of work assignments. She was not afraid of competing with Deng Wenchang. Back when she devoted all her time to her school work and reading books, she was used to doing even more assignments than the tasks that she was given now. Since Xiaonan had no intention of giving up, Deng Wenchang had to continue with his work. He did not even have the time to take a breather or to smoke. He could only work as hard as Xiaonan. Xiaonan was a student, and she was used to this type of lifestyle. It was different for Deng Wenchang. He had graduated more than a year ago. When he was in college, he no longer completed his assignments by hand. Besides, now that he was working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there were computers in the office. He was used to typing on the computer. As a student who came back from overseas studies, he was very familiar with the computer and had a fast typing speed. This was one of the main reasons why he was confident of having a strong foothold in the ministry. Now that he was competing with Xiaonan, Deng Wenchang had to use the basic method of writing non-stop with his right hand and a pen. Xiaonan looked energized and enthusiastic. It was as if she had drunk 10 bottles of Red Bull. Deng Wenchang's hands felt so sore and painful that he could no longer write. The veterans in the department witnessed the scene and one of them walked to stand next to He Yi, giving him a thumbs up. All of us in the department know that Comrade Xiao Deng is arrogant and proud. Comrade Xiao Qiao must be very capable to be able to make him suffer. Old He, tell me honestly. Where did you get such a good comrade from? The young lady might be young, but she is not delicate at all. Compared to Deng Wenchang, she was even more able to withstand hardships. She was the industrious and hands-on type. He Yi felt particularly proud. She was his little junior. Since they had the same master, she must be capable. All these years, his master had the same good judgment as back in his younger days. Back then, his master also made a good judgment when he chose him as his disciple. That's without a doubt. Comrade Xiao Qiao might be young, but she was a Peking University student and she is awarded a scholarship yearly. If not for the special situation at home, Comrade Xiao Deng would not be the only person in the department who has gone on overseas studies. Comrade Xiao Qiao rejected the offer to go on a sponsored overseas study. The colleague was surprised. She is that capable. His child wanted to go for overseas studies but did not do as well in the exams and had to pay for overseas studies. The expenses for 1 year were very costly. He and his wife could feel the pinch. The school fees and the cost of the books were alarmingly high. They had yet to factor in the living expenses. But no matter how expensive it was or the impact it had on their savings and living expenses, they only had one child. They hoped that the child would be successful and make them proud in the future. They had no other choice but to fork out the money. Unlike their situation where they had to fork out the money by themselves, the school was willing to sponsor Comrade Xiao Qiao, yet she refused to go. What is her family's situation? It is a golden opportunity. Why did she give it up? It is such a pity. As the elders, we all hope that the children will make something of themselves. It is impossible that one would stop them from developing and learning. They were willing to fork out their own money to send the child for overseas studies. It was beyond reason that one would refuse to go when one was being sponsored. He knew about his colleague's situation. He smiled as he patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry. Even if Comrade Xiao Qiao did not go for overseas studies, she is just as capable. Look at our generation. After the special period, who would be able to go for overseas studies? Aren't they fearful? His master was the exception. He was brave and daring. Although it was during the special period, he still went overseas to study without any hesitation. While other people were suffering, his master concentrated on his studies. He became a knowledgeable man who was very proficient in a foreign language within that precious 10 years. He was a rare talent. After he returned to the country, he had an edge over others and he had a strong foothold in his field of expertise. Until today, he still admired Lin Yuankong for his decisive and swift actions back then. Other people wasted 10 years of their lives, while Lin Yuankong used the 10 years to enrich himself and reached a state where other ordinary people could not attain. What was important was that his knowledge and skills were able to keep up with the times and he would never fall behind. After listening to He, the colleague pursed his lips sullenly, not making further comments. Chapter 1358 Badi? Hit him. He was still upset over the fact that he had to fork out the money for his child to go on an overseas study, particularly when he heard that there were people who refused to go despite being sponsored. It would be a while before he could get over it. There was such a huge difference in the destiny of people. Luckily, Deng Wenchang was focused on his work and did not overhear their conversation. Otherwise, Deng Wenchang would be in a bad mood like the colleague, and he might vomit blood from anger. Back then, Deng Wenchang had to pay for his school fees when he went on an overseas study. He was not able to receive sponsorship from the school. Qiaonan still looked energetic and invigorating despite having worked the entire day. On the other hand, Deng Wenchang looked pale when he knocked off from work. His right hand was stiff and sore. He patted Deng Wenchang on the shoulder, giving him a gentle reminder. Xiao Deng, you had better not drive the car today. Get someone to fetch you. There are a lot of cars in the capital and the traffic is very busy. It's important to keep safe. The chairman has said that good health is a prerequisite for work. Deng Wenchang must not use his right hand anymore today, or he might not be able to use his right hand tomorrow. If so, Deng Wenchang would have lost to the little junior. As her senior, He was very happy to watch the competition between Deng Wenchang and his little junior. Deng Wenchang was being petty, but his little junior was not a pushover either. In order for the competition to keep going so that he could have more fun watching them, he had to remind Deng Wenchang to protect himself and to take care of his health and safety. It was very dangerous to drive a car when one was exhausted. This was taught in driving school and one must never forget this reminder. Deng Wenchang took a deep breath, plastering a fake smile on his face. Uncle He, thank you for your concern. Don't worry. I won't risk my life. Deng Wenchang could feel that his right hand was shaking due to overexertion. He would not forget what Qiaonan did to him today. He would make her pay for it tomorrow. Qiaonan noticed the look of grievance and hatred in Deng Wenchang's eyes. Qiaonan had yet to talk to Zai Sheng, so she had no idea what Peng Yu's motive was for being close to Chu Chenxai and the Deng family. But it was clear that they were crucial to his plan. If she destroyed either of them, it would make it more difficult for Peng Yu to deal with the Zai family. As a nobody, Qiaonan did not have any grand plan. She only wanted to fulfill her role as a minor figure to work from the foundation. Once the important chess pieces were removed, Peng Yu's plan would not go as smoothly as planned. A small leak would sink a great ship. It was suitable to use this method on Peng Yu. Mama, happy. San Bao, who was 1.5 years old, noticed that her mama would hum a tune from time to time and smiled to herself. San Bao straightened and danced along to the tune happily. De Bao and Er Bao behaved like San Bao as well. They surrounded Jiaonan and smiled brightly at her like three little sons. They were an adorable sight. They had chubby cheeks and were all smiles. Their eyes curved into crescent moon-like shape, sparkling like the stars in the sky. They were so adorable. No one would be able to resist their charms and would want to give them a hug and a kiss. As their mother, Jiaonan's love for them was plain for all to see. She squatted down and carried them one by one, kissing them on each of their cheeks. Yes, I am elated today. A Badu wanted to bully me, but I have retaliated. This was not the first time that Deng Wenchang went against Jiaonan. When Jiaonan did her internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Deng Wenchang would mock her whenever he spoke to her, but Jiaonan would maintain her silence. Everyone in the ministry wondered if Deng Wenchang was the woman while Jiaonan was the man. Deng Wenchang seemed to be petty, while Jiaonan was big-hearted and magnanimous. She seemed like a true man who did not take issue with him. Among the people they knew, none of the men were petty and nasty-tempered. Moreover, the person who was being bullied was a young lady. It seemed as if their roles had been reversed. Previously, Jiaonan was thinking that since she was already an old lady who was more than 50 years old, she should not take issue with a young brat in his 20s. Therefore, she was not bothered by Deng Wenchang's mocking. Anyway, it would not hurt her. But things were different now. Although it had no substantial impact on her, Jiaonan no longer wanted to be gracious to Deng Wenchang. She would no longer keep silent at his mocking. It must be Peng Yu's plan for Deng Wenchang to secure a place in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs could be considered as her master's territory as well. How could she allow herself to be bullied by outsiders in her own territory? She might not be able to do anything in other places, but this was the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Jiaonan was ready to thwart Peng Yu's plans. His plans might be to make use of Deng Wenchang to be up to no good. Jiaonan would do her best to stop him. Badi? Hit him. De Bao knitted his eyebrows. He clenched his fists and raised them into the air. His mannerism resembled his father. Bully mama. Er Bao blinked and revealed a devilish smile. Bring Papa to their house. San Bao was anxious. De Bao and Er Bao had already thought of how they should deal with the baddie. What about her? The young lady made a circle on the spot and clung to Jiaonan's knees. I cry. San Bao knew that if she cried, the adult's countenance would change. Jiaonan was amused. She hugged her triplets. They are brilliant ideas, but I am not in a hurry to use them. When you are older and have the ability, you can take revenge for me. You are still very young now. You must have your meals and grow up to be strong and healthy. I will protect you. Jiaonan was merely chatting with her children. She did not expect that they had good memories at such a young age and were able to remember her words today. Since that day, De Bao was very interested in offensive weapons like small tanks and toy guns. If Old Master Zai woke up early in the morning, he had the habit of practicing shadowboxing as a form of exercise. There was once when De Bao woke up to use the restroom and he saw his grandpa doing shadowboxing. From then on, De Bao had the habit of waking up early in the morning to accompany Old Master Zai as he practiced shadowboxing. De Bao was still a toddler. Although he was able to walk steadily now, he would fall down whenever he tried to throw punches or kicked his leg. Luckily, he took a fall on the lawn in the garden. It was spring and the grasses formed dense cascading mounds. De Bao landed on the soft grass and did not feel any pain at all. Chapter 1359 Equation that made one see red. Miao Jing's heart ached for De Bao. He was still young and should have more rest. But De Bao refused to listen to her. Old Master Zai had differing opinions. It was true that Dabeo took a few falls when learning how to shadowbox. Although he was far from being skilled, he had a good form. Since Dabeo was determined to learn the skill and was able to pick up skills very quickly like the people in the Zai family, Old Master Zai did not stop him. Instead, he was glad that he was interested. Old Master Zai caressed Dabeo's head while he gazed at Xiao Nan. To him, Xiao Nan was like a mother hen who laid golden eggs. It is a pity that the country does not allow us to have more than one child. Nan Nan, you are a good child. The 3 children are very good indeed. If Dabeo had a few more siblings, the Zai family would have a better future. Of course, they must be children of his grandson and granddaughter-in-law. Miaojing was proud and at the same time troubled. Old master, you must not say this to your friends. If they hear this, they will gang up to bully you. Zai Sheng had a late marriage. Back then, Old Master Zai's former comrades would tease and laugh at him for not becoming a great-grandfather and not having any great-grandchildren despite his age. Unlike him, they had a great-granddaughter or great-grandson, and the 4 generations were living under the same roof. They did not count on having 5 generations under the same roof. But having 4 generations was doable. It was a pity that they had 4 generations under the same roof, whereas Old Master Zai did not have any great-grandchild. Their grandchild had already grown up to be sensible children, while Old Master Zai had no one with him. They could not help but hold their head high and brag to Old Master Zai, making him turn green in anger. But they were long-time friends and they knew each other well. They would not bear grudges but would laugh it off. However, everything changed after Xiao Nan gave birth to triplets. The Zai family welcomed their 4th generation, and most importantly, they had 3 babies in one go. Old Master Zai had far more great-grandchildren than his former comrades. All of them were soldiers and they were loyal to the country and the organization. Since the country implemented a national planning policy, they would not go against it either. In that case, those who had a great-grandson would not have a great-granddaughter, and those who had a great-granddaughter would want a great-grandson. Old Master Zai was the only one who was smiling from ear to ear. He had a great-granddaughter and 2 great-grandsons. Other families only had 1 baby, while his family had 3 babies, and 2 of them were boys and 1 of them was a girl. It was a rare blessing. Therefore, how could Old Master Zai complain that the country forbade them from having more children and they did not have enough children at home when they already had 3 babies? The other families only had 1 child. They must be full of complaints. Old Master Zai stopped himself from laughing at his daughter-in-law's words. He stroked his beard. The triplets are so well behaved. The more the merrier. His grandson was brought up by him, and the former did not let him down. He had good judgment. Like her mother, Chu Chenexai was not a good girl. Chu Chenexai was still single despite her age. Old Master Zai could not help but express his displeasure toward her. Luckily, Zai Sheng has the same judgment as me. If he had a poor judgment like his dad, I couldn't imagine what it would be like at our house now. It's good that I have kept a tight watch on him. One could tell that Old Master Zai disliked Qi Minlin and her daughter, Chu Chenexai. In fact, he was displeased with his own son, Zai Yaowai, as well. If Old Master Zai had not insisted on having Miaojing as his daughter-in-law, and Zai Yaowai had made his own decision, Qi Minlin might have ended up as the daughter-in-law of the Zai family. If his daughter-in-law was a different person, Zai Hua and Zai Sheng, who were good and upright, might not become the children of the Zai family. If Chu Chenexai was born into the Zai family, Old Master Zai would rather not have Zai Yaowai as his son. He had caused the family to be in a mess. There was no way that Zai Yaowai could answer to Old Master Zai and the veterans who contributed to nation building. Zai Yaowai was in a meeting. He could not help but sneeze at the mention of his name, attracting the attention of other people around him. Zhu Chenqi looked at Zai Yaowai with slight contempt. Has Chief Zai been in poor health recently? The weather is good, yet you caught a cold. The children are still young and have a weak immune system. When you return home, make sure to keep a distance from them. Zhu Chenqi finally became a grandpa. He adored the bubbly and cheerful grandchildren. Unlike Zai Yaowai, who was reserved, Zhu Chenqi showed his affection for the triplets openly. Zhu Chenqi received the treatment that Jiao Dongliang was denied. When the triplets saw Zhu Chenqi, they would address him as their grandpa and clung onto him like little monkeys, refusing to let go. Zai Yaowai was unable to be this close and affectionate to them. Seeing that Zai Yaowai seemed to have caught a cold, Zhu Chenqi was not worried that Zai Yaowai was sick and the enemy would stand to gain. Instead, he was worried that Zai Yaowai would bring the virus back home. He hoped that Zai Yaowai would be conscious and steer clear of the triplets so that he would not pass the virus to them. Zai Yaowai might not worry for his grandchildren, but he could not bear for his maternal grandchildren to fall sick. Zai Yaowai felt grumpy. He had a closer relationship with the three children. Chief Zhu, thank you for your concern. Don't worry. I did not catch a cold. It's just that my nose feels itchy. The three children are used to having my company. They will throw tantrums if they did not see me. No matter what, they belonged to the Zai family. Once he reached home, he could hold the triplets in his arms. Zhu Chenqi might be envious, but he could not do so. No matter how hard he tried, he could not spend as much time with the triplets as him. The older one was, the more one behaved like children. Besides, men were childish by nature. Zhu Chenqi's and Zai Yaowai's mental age might not add up to more than 10 years old. Everyone present was at a loss for words. Peng Yu's father, Peng Chunyua, felt deeply about this. Among everyone present, he was the only one who did not have any grandchildren. Peng Yu was single. The rest of the people had at least one grandchild while the Zai family had 3 grandchildren. The equation in the office was as follows: the Zai family, followed by the Zhu family, the other families, and lastly, the Peng family. Thinking of the equation made Peng Chunyua see red. Chapter 1360 Sly Little Fox. He was not afraid if they were to compare their sons. But Zhu Chenqi and Zai Yaowai were talking about grandsons. He did not have any grandsons or granddaughters, so he had no way of competing with them. He stifled the bloody smell in his throat before he took a deep breath. Peng Chunyua had made up his mind. No matter what, he must make sure that his son find a girlfriend, marry, and have children within this year. He might have a lot to say and make impassionate speeches during the meeting, but whenever the veteran cotters talked about their grandsons, he could only play deaf-mute and hide in a corner, keeping silent while other people were engaged in their conversations. There was such a marked difference. Peng Chunyua could no longer take it. He had to get a definite answer from his son. He had never felt so embarrassed in any situation in his entire life. Zai Yaowai and Zhu Chenqi noted the displeased and awkward look on Peng Chunyua's face. They smiled at each other tacitly and stopped targeting him. It was enough to make a dig at Peng Chunyua from time to time. Zai Yaowai knew more than anyone how upsetting it was to Peng Chunyua when people brought up the topic of grandsons. 2 years ago, Zai Yaowai was in the same predicament. His son only married at the old age of 26. He would face such a situation once or twice a year. Initially, he was able to remain unaffected to the boasting and bragging, and he did not take it to heart. But as time passed, and he was faced with the same situation for 3 to 4 years, one could not help but waver no matter how emotionally strong one was. Zai Yaowai felt deeply about this and had the first-hand experience. This was why although Zai Yaowai could tell that Zai Sheng was not interested in Chu Chenxi, he still allowed Chu Chenxi to visit the Zai family and be treated as Zai Sheng's fiancé. He would be glad if his son could meet a lady that he liked like how he met Miao Jing. If not, he had to marry a lady of similar status who could bear children for the Zai family. Back then, Chu Chenxi and Qi Minlin used to think that Zai Yaowai valued his relationship with Qi Minlin, and that was why he liked Chu Chenxi and wanted her to be his daughter-in-law, not taking his son's opinions into consideration. The mother and daughter did not know that Zai Yaowai was treating Chu Chenexai as a spare tire. Zai Yaowai needed to have a spare tire, and Chi Minlin and Chu Chenexai happened to be there. The two of them ended up knowing each other. This was why things were how they were when Xiao Nan first met Zai Sheng about 6 to 7 years ago. Zai Yaowai, who had a similar experience, knew the best way to upset Peng Chunyua and for him to waver. Besides, there was no need for him to do it personally. Apart from Peng Chunyua, all the people present had grandsons. Other than Zai Yaowai and Zhu Chenqi, the rest of them would chat about their grandchildren in their leisure time. It was impossible for Peng Chunyua not to be affected by them. Moreover, the Zai family had triplets. This was a blow to Peng Yu as well as Peng Chunyua. His son was just as good as Zai Yaowai's son. But judging from the current situation, he was not certain that he would have a better daughter-in-law than Xiao Nan. Could it be that he would end up having a daughter-in-law that was not as good as Zai Yaowai's daughter-in-law? The son resembled the father. Peng Yu liked to compare with Zai Sheng. He must have learned this from his father. Xiao Nan, who was holding De Bao in her arms, was at a loss for words when she heard that the Peng family was looking for a suitable daughter-in-law. Why must they be so insistent on finding a lady whose family has a history of multiple births? Xiao Nan felt amused. She thought of her situation. Her grandparents were no longer around. She was not sure if there were twins or triplets in the Qiao family. There were still relatives in the Ding family. Perhaps her maternal grandparents were still around. But Ding Jiyi never mentioned that the family had twins or triplets. Xiao Nan was thankful that she met Zai Sheng and she only had one encounter with Peng Yu. When she was in her first year of junior high school, she went to the waste recycling station during the summer break to buy old books. She did not have any direct contact with Peng Yu. If there was a day where Peng Yu appeared right in front of Xiao Nan, she would not be able to tell who he was. If she met Peng Yu instead of Zai Sheng, Xiao Nan could not imagine how her life would change. After escaping from Ding Jiyi's and Xiao Zijin's clutches, she might end up in another abyss. But then again, on second thoughts, Xiao Nan laughed at herself for thinking too much. Without the Zai family, she was useless to Peng Yu. If so, Peng Yu would have another set of requirements when he was looking for a wife. After childbirth, Xiao Nan would have random and peculiar thoughts from time to time. She must be muddled from childbirth. Mom, when the triplets turn 3 years old, should we send them for early childhood education? The children must be on the same starting line. This was something that Xiao Nan used to hear in the past, but she did not think too much about it back then. Firstly, she was single. She did not have any children. There was no need to worry that they might start late. Secondly, she had no money. Even if she had children, it did not concern her either. She had children and money in this life. She would naturally pay special attention to it. Sure. By then, we can have a discussion and decide on a school for the triplets. Miaojing had heard of early childhood education. The triplets' nominal age was 2 years old, but they were, in fact, 1.5 years old. They had to enroll for early childhood education next year. It was better to come to a decision first. The cheeky Bao could not really understand what his mama and grandma were talking about. Xiao Nan put down De Bao and hugged Bao. Early childhood education means that you will have to go to school. Does Bao want to go to school like me? Bao's eyes lit up. Together with Mama. It did not matter what they did. What was important was the person who was with them. Miaojing was amused. Bao, are you really 1.5 years old? You seem to be a sly little fox. Xiao Nan gave her mother-in-law, who was consumed by laughter, a plaintive glance. I am about to graduate from college. I won't need early childhood education. By then, De Bao and Bao will bring your sister with you for class.